Welcome back once again, all of my low carb friends, and for those of you who are here for the first time, welcome. Today I have a recipe for you that's perfect if you just want a light, sweet treat. Today we are going to make quick and simple keto shortbread. And if you want a printable version of this recipe, you can check out my website at janetsdeliciouslowcarbkitchen.com. You can find a printable version of this recipe and other goodies there for you. And if you're new to the channel and you want to see lots of easy, delicious, low-carb keto recipes, make sure you click that subscribe button and click the notification bell that's right next to the subscribe button. That way you can be notified every time I put out videos every Wednesday and Saturday. And if you'd like to help support the channel, make sure you scroll down in the description of the video. You'll see some affiliate links. Anytime you purchase anything using those affiliate links, a small portion of your purchase will go to me and help support the channel. So while you do all that, let's get cooking. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Line an 8 by 8 inch cake pan with parchment paper and allow the paper to overhang on the side so you can use these as handles once the shortbread is baked. Or if you're wanting to make these into just individual cookies, you can just line a large baking sheet with parchment paper. In a medium mixing bowl, combine 85 grams or about 10 tablespoons of coconut flour, 48 grams or about 1/4 cup of the granulated sweetener of your choice. I'm using granulated monk fruit sweetener. You can use whatever granulated sweetener you want. You can also use more or less depending on how sweet you want your shortbread. 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of baking powder. I know traditional shortbread doesn't usually have baking powder, but because we are using coconut flour, we need the baking powder to make the dough more light so you won't have a dense shortbread. And a 1/2 teaspoon of xanthan gum. Sift or whisk these all together until they're fully combined and there are no lumps in the dry ingredients. Now, if you don't have xanthan gum or don't want to use xanthan gum, you can replace it with finely ground flaxseed meal or psyllium husk powder, or you can also leave the xanthan gum out and omit the water that we're going to add later and just use a couple of eggs. But as I always tell you guys, any substitutes can and probably will affect the taste and texture of your dough. Once the dry ingredients are sifted and there are no lumps, add 10 tablespoons of room temperature butter that's been slightly softened. Make sure it's just softened, not melted. Stir the butter into the dry ingredients until everything is fully combined and all the dry ingredients have been lightly moistened by the butter. You'll have a little bit of a crumbly looking mixture. That's okay. That's the way it's supposed to look. Add a 1/2 cup of hot water. Make sure it is hot. Doesn't have to be boiling or anything. You just want it to have some heat to it. This helps the xanthan gum to incorporate in better, and it also helps the dough to remain soft so you have a lighter shortbread. Stir the hot water into the ingredients until everything is fully combined and you have a smooth, soft, wet dough. Once the hot water is combined with the other ingredients, give the dough an extra 30 to 40 second good vigorous stir. This helps incorporate the xanthan gum and make sure that it is fully dissolved and helps it to start binding the ingredients all together. Once everything is stirred together, scrape down the sides of the bowl and push the dough to the center of the bowl. Then allow the dough to sit at room temperature for about 3 minutes. This helps the dough to absorb any extra moisture and again helps the xanthan gum to start locking all the ingredients together. Once the dough has set for 3 minutes, form the dough into a ball and massage the dough in your hands for about 1 minute. Again, this is to absorb any excess moisture and to continue to help that xanthan gum to bind together. This also helps you test the texture of your dough. Your dough is going to be slightly sticky at first, but it should not be sticking to your fingers a lot. If it is, you just need to add a tiny bit more coconut flour. If it seems like your dough is not coming together and crumbly, then you just need to add a tiny bit more water. As you're massaging the dough, that slightly sticky texture will go away and you should have a soft, smooth, lightly moist dough by the time you're done massaging it. Once you're done massaging the dough, test the dough a little bit to make sure it is the right texture. Just take a small portion of the dough and roll it around in your hand to form a small, smooth ball. It should come together very nicely, very smoothly. If it doesn't seem like it's holding its shape, then you need to add a little bit more xanthan gum and water because you need a little bit more binding agent. Once you know that your dough is the right texture, scoop it into the center of your prepared cake pan. Then press the dough evenly throughout the cake pan. Make sure it is as even as you can get it so that you have a nice even cook. If you're wanting to do these in individual cookies, just scoop the dough out about 1 tablespoon at a time and shape it into whatever shape you're wanting your cookie. You can do it into a flat circle or you can do it into more of a longer oval shape. It's up to you how you want your shortbread cookies to look if you are making them into individual cookies. Once your shortbread is either pressed evenly throughout the pan or shaped into your individual cookies, if you're doing the cake pan version, if you want to, you can go ahead and cut the shortbread into your desired size pieces, or you can just wait till after it's done baking and cooling and then cut it or break it into your desired size pieces. It's up to you how you want to do that. Once your shortbread is pressed and shaped the way you want it to be, place it in your preheated oven. Bake at 350 degrees for around 15 to 20 minutes or until the shortbread is lightly golden around the edges. If you're doing the individual cookie version, check it at 10 minutes. And if the cookies are starting to get golden, they are done. Whether you're making it in the cake pan version or the cookie version, the shortbread should be golden around the edges when it is done. Once the shortbread is done, remove it from the oven. If you want to, you can dust the top of the shortbread or shortbread cookies with a little bit of powdered sweetener of your choice. That's up to you whether you want to do that or not. I'm just dusting it with powdered allulose, and I'm using about a tablespoonful. Then allow the shortbread to cool in the pan for at least 10 to 20 minutes or until it's firm enough to remove from the pan without falling apart. Now this does make a very soft bread or cookie, whichever you're making. So if you are wanting something a little bit more firm, a little bit more crispy, you can either cook this for a few minutes longer or replace the xanthan gum and water with 2 eggs. Once your shortbread is cooled, if you're doing the cake pan version, grasp the overhanging parchment paper and gently lift the shortbread out of the cake pan and place it on a wire rack to cool completely. Once your shortbread is done cooling, if you're doing the cake pan version, you can go ahead and cut or break that into your desired pieces. Place the shortbread on the serving platter of your choice. You can eat it immediately, or you can store any leftovers in an airtight container at room temperature for up to 1 week. Eat and enjoy. And that's our recipe of the day. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did and you want to see more videos like this, make sure you click that thumbs up like button, click that subscribe button, leave me a comment if you want to. Let me know if there's any recipes that you'd like to learn how to make, and I'll do what I can to get those out there for you. And as always, keep cooking.